we are now going to go over to Luciana from In-Ear Health.
Hi, it'll be very difficult to follow the wonderful workouts, but I'll do my best. So welcome, ladies, gents, and non-binary folks, to why I believe this is the perfect time for us to all get together and create with the future that we want and deserve. So a little bit about me. I'm a technologist. I'm an impact entrepreneur. I'm a diversity advocate and mentor, and I'm a champion for change. If there's anything that you take away from this talk is that if nothing else, with every crisis, there's opportunity. That in a radically changing world, there is space for different mental models, for new beliefs and new realities. Did you know that we don't see the world as it is? We see it as we are. Yeah, we do have the power within us. But why now, you ask? 22 was the turning point, 2020, I mean. Institutional racism, sexism, extremism, all the isms, and echo chambers came clashing down. Those on the fringe are reclaiming their power and challenging traditional power norms. New economic models have been powered by tech, from the gig economy to the attention economy, to recently the passion and the creator economy. Lastly, the breakdown of what the hell is normal. The 24/7 culture and work demands have us all burned out. We're just exhausted. You know, depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide, and every 40 seconds, someone dies of suicide. And those are pre-COVID stats. There's a loneliness epidemic, there's a mental health pandemic, and screens don't substitute humans. It's as if we can't live with tech, but we can't live without it. The key issues I've been exploring for the last decade are a rising narrative that today just cannot be ignored. New generations demand accountability, and it's up to all of us to turn that into real lasting change. So what does that mean for us, for you? The creator economy freed us from dependency, from selling our time as money, and from having linear lives. It freed us to pursue what we all really want, to love what we do, to live in purpose, and to be rewarded for it. With digital tools in our fingertips, this unbundling of work has given rise to a new wave of micro-entrepreneurs. And who's making the most of it? To a certain extent, Gen Z, the smartphone natives. They don't create brands, they are brands. They don't PR about a better world, they demand it. So looking at how to adapt to this rising tide, I've been designing this idea of the empower economy. Bear with me, it's very difficult to unpack and there's a lot within 6 minutes, but essentially it's a framework that reinvents the concept of value creation, human identity and institutional roles to create a new mental model for our works and our lives that puts people and the planet at the heart of it. It's drawing on trends that have been building up over the last decade. We've got health, wealth, democratization, the rise of crypto, alternative means of financing, being able to be an equity investor, we can all be one, circular economy, regenerative capital. Within human identity, we've got shifting cultural norms. You know, Gen Z is the queerest generation of all. We're building portfolio lives, nomadism, remote work, self-education. We're turning consumers into creators. And the role of institutions, the erosion of power structures and flattening hierarchy. As I said, I don't have that much time to go in depth, so I'll talk about top level ideas. We're moving from companies and structures BC, before Corona, to a model that envisions a breakdown of that middleman, and it's more human to human. What do we have? Rise of flexible everything, authenticity as a currency, rawness and vulnerability in messaging, need for belonging, being part of a community. After all, we're all tribal beings. The importance of data and ownership. Can you imagine what the world would look like in 5 to 10 years? Actually, if you're standing still, you're already behind. As much influence as I imagine that we have, you, the audience, we can get bogged down by the things that we can't control, which can be politics, the economy, other people. So I want to give you the same actionable tips that I use in my personal playbook for you to apply in your micro environment, as I want all of my talks to be super actionable. So 1, lead with empathy in everything that you do. Watch your language, become aware of bias. We all have them. And most importantly, tap into empathy for yourself. Be kind for yourself. Self-compassion is revolutionary, and God knows we need more of it these days. Normalize that it's okay not to be okay. Tap into personal power. Shift internal narratives and limiting beliefs. In challenging moments, ask yourself, what is the story that I'm telling myself? Thanks, Brené Brown. Also look at mindset, where again, language is key. Life is happening for you, not to you. Prioritize self-care and energy management. You can't pour from an empty cup. Work smarter and harder and ask the difficult questions. Have the difficult conversations. The mentality, let's ignore hustle porn. We only have one life. The biggest regret that people had on their deathbeds are not having worked more or sat inside, your house on Zoom calls back to back. It's actually not having prioritized more human connection. Connect with others, connect with gratitude every day if you can. Did you know that it's humanly impossible to both feel fear and gratitude at the same time? In classic marketing speak, I just couldn't help it. Here are the 5 C's, aka the rules and guidelines of the empower economy. Break with convention, lead with compassion, play with cross-pollination, challenge cultural norms, empower co-ownership. You might ask, okay, life's a game though, so how do we win, right? As brands, as people, as companies, how do I stay ahead? First, the idea is not to have a zero-sum game. That's the whole point. But we see examples of those who are winning today. Like our title says, most of them are about being human first. Those with no filters, those who play, those who are raw and messy and use humor and are vulnerable AF. It's a little bit like this. Reed Hastings admitting, okay, shit, we made a mistake when he tried to launch another brand that would separate the DVD business from the streaming business back in 2011, which became, quote unquote, the symbol of Netflix not listening to its customers. A little bit like this, but not like this. Not sure if you've seen it, probably. Burger King UK's tweet the day before yesterday for International Women's Day, which was designed to grab people's attention using the sexist stereotype, women belong in the kitchen, but totally backfired. Although it was for a good cause, essentially it sparked a Twitter storm of calls to boycott the fast food giant. A final thing to keep in mind from human to human, please prioritize self-care. Necessity is, the self-care is a necessity, not a luxury. Be true to yourself. Let's shed the masks. Vulnerability breeds vulnerability. I'm a mental health advocate and pretty much live it. And then tap into play. We need more cheekiness. We need more humor and good times in our lives. That's why I love TikTok. This talk has been the kind of culmination of the last 10 years of my life and of relentlessly asking over and over again, how can tech make us more human? How can tech, brands, our work make us care more about us all? How can we truly, with no agenda, empower each other? Now, this is just the beginning. If you want to share your thoughts, feedback, connect with me, I know we have a Q&A in a few seconds, but absolutely open to collaborating and to hearing from you. My DMs and my email are open. Thank you so much, Ahmad Anywhere, for the invite. More to come.
Hi, Luciana. Thank you so much for opening the afternoon. So many thought-provoking things there. And to be quite honest, as a 43-year-old man, quite terrifying, a lot of those things. It feels that like the whole world is fractured and changing in a way that even if I spent all day thinking about it, I wouldn't be able to understand the whole thing. But there's a couple of things that really leapt out for me. And something you said that I've heard throughout my career, which is work smarter. Sounds perfectly plausible, really easy to say, but what does it actually mean in 2021?
No, totally. It's something that I think I've also heard many times, but never really put into action, which is we're not really managing our time per se, we're actually managing our energy. And lastly, so much that I say around my work with mental health, which is really looking at how can we be more productive, live better, healthier lives. It's really about understanding that it's not one size fits all. And actually what we hear all the time, the 5 a.m. wake up club and whatnot, you have to, through trial and error, figure out what works for you and be very conscious of the fact that it's really about understanding at what points during the day you feel like you're tuning into deep work, like you're tuning into more creative social work, and being able to proactively design your life. I would say that kind of the top reminder / life hack that I give people is block out time, really kind of proactively think about your week on the weekends or at the beginning of your day and say, what are the 1 or 2 things that I need to achieve today? And everything else falls to the foreground.
Luciana, thank you so much. I love the very specific life hack at the end there. I think there's a lesson in there for us all.